After putting about 40 hours into Elden Ring, I have come to the conclusion that this game really is revolutionary. The game just hit 30 million purchases, I believe, not too long ago, which is a massive number, by the way. But the reason why I want to say that the game is revolutionary for me is I'm somebody who's never played a Souls game before. I've never touched Dark Souls. I've never played Sekiro. I didn't play Elden Ring for the longest time. I've never played Armored Core. Literally any of the Souls-like games, any game from Software, none of them. I've never played any of these styles of games until now. And that's kind of, the shtick with this channel, Never Before, is my journey progressing through the lands between with my character that I've deemed the Elden Ring warrior. But through 40 hours now, which I know for, so many of you out there is chump change. Of course, you've probably got 4,000 hours in Elden Ring, of course. But my perspective is just that I'm in awe of the game because I'm traditionally an FPS gamer. That's actually what I do for the most part. I play games like Halo. Like that's the very first game that I ever played was Halo, Call of Duty, Destiny, things, games like that, Titanfall, X-Defiant. Those games are like my bread and butter. Story-based games are not. I've only ever actually completed one story-based game ever, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That was the very first story-based game that I had ever beaten, and I put 120 hours into that game on the Wii U, might I add, not even on the Switch, on the Wii U. Now, I have played some story games in the past, and I have put many hours into them and really loved them. The Witcher 3 is a great example. I've put about 70-ish hours into that game, and I'm not even close to finishing that story. Like, I gave up on that process a long time ago. Like, I'm talking like, 8 years ago I stopped playing that game. Just because I loved getting into the world, but I couldn't progress the story forward. But again, I put like 70 hours into that game. And then, I've played games like World of Warcraft, but honestly, I don't, World of Warcraft is not a single-player game, so it's kind of different. So you got to get the idea here that I've played some story games, but I've never gotten really that deep into them. And I've certainly never played story-based games that are deep and difficult, like that have a level of hardness to them. That's what she said. And of course, Elden Ring and Souls-like games, like that's their whole thing. And actually, that's why I've never played them until I finally gave Elden Ring a shot. Like, before I jumped into Elden Ring, I had never tried any of those games because I knew how hard they were, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. If that makes sense. Like, I couldn't bring myself to, be subjected to the pain that the games would provide. But just something clicked in me where I wanted to try Elden Ring. It was just, everyone just went bonkers over this game. And I was like, you know what? Why not just give it a shot? Why not give it a shot and see what happens? And now I'm 40 hours into the game. I've been playing it for the better half of a year now. And it's absolutely incredible. Now, yes, I am absolutely taking my time with it for sure. Like, I'm slowly trudging through. But this is the most, again, outside of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, this is the most, deep I've ever really gotten into an open world game, an RPG, a story-based game. I've never felt like this about another game in this genre before. I've put thousands of hours into, Destiny in the past, but again, that's a shooter game. It's a completely different vibe. And I think that's what is so, crazy to me about Elden Ring is that this game was able to take me from, frankly, not having really any interest in the genre and then absolutely gripping me to where now when I play the game, I truly want to find every single little thing that I can in the game. Like, I actively avoid progressing the main storyline because I want to complete all of the side things that there are to complete in the game before moving ahead. I don't want to get too far into the game because I know that there's so much here and I want to experience as much of it as I can. So like in Limgrave, for example, I spent a lot of time in Limgrave before I ever even went to Godric. I went to the Weeping Peninsula, I got as much of that stuff done as I could. I found as many secrets as I could. I obviously got the Bloodhound's Fang very early on, and that has been, you know, my weapon of choice, you know, ever since then. But I spent so much time trying to find every little thing I could in Limgrave before going to Castle Stormveil, because I knew once I got there that would be like that next chapter in my journey, if that makes sense. And then once I did, I obviously beat Godric, and then I moved on to Liurnia, and the same thing has happened to me in Liurnia. Now, spoilers for my playthrough of the game, if you guys are watching that series of the Elden Ring Warrior, you know, I have now, at this point, completed Liurnia, and I have moved on to the next section of the game, which is the Altus Plateau. I haven't done anything in the Altus Plateau yet. I've just gotten there, but you know, I spent a long, I mean, I don't know exactly. I want to say maybe around 20 hours. I think I've spent probably 20 hours in the Limgrave area and about 20 hours now in Liurnia. And I've really tried to do my best to get everything that there is to get done in Liurnia before moving on, right? Like, I went through the Academy of Raya Lucaria, and I've actually gone back there like 2 or 3 times now to try and make sure I had everything done. And I'm not gonna lie, after reviewing my footage for the next playthrough video, I absolutely missed something, and part of me wants to go back to it, part of me doesn't want to. You know, I'm like, god damn it, like, I've already gone back here like 1,800 times, like, I need to move on, you know, I've spent too much time here. But that's my point, is the game beckons me to want to spend as much time as possible in it. Like, I don't want to progress the story forward. And I know that if I were to just, you know, buckle down and really focus on the main story and the main quest line, that I probably would have already beaten the game by now, or at the very least I'd be pretty close to beating it. Or on the flip side, I'd be having a much more difficult and perhaps not as enjoyable experience because I'm not going out of my way to do a lot of the side quests and go to some of the side dungeons and defeat some of the side bosses and stuff like that. That has allowed me to grow in strength and knowledge that has helped me significantly when it comes down to, you know, fighting against the actual main bosses as you progress the story, right? You know, taking down Renala, right? That's a big one. Or going into the, what is it? The Carian Manor. The Carian Manor. And there's the one boss over there. I can't remember the name, but I just completed that one. But you know, that's my point. Like, I have done so many side things now that it's made me really, really strong and knowledgeable. And I feel like it's made my experience in the main side of the game easier as a result. But I also feel more fulfilled and more well-rounded as a player as a result, which is just, it just feels so good. And that's what I'm loving playing this game so much for that, because this game very much took a player who was not the target demographic for Elden Ring, and it sort of made me the target demographic for Elden Ring. Like, I'm very excited to play Elden Ring Night Rain eventually. I'm not going to play it yet because I want to actually beat Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree before going to Night Rain, but I'm very excited to play the next FromSoft game. Like, I've never been interested in doing that until now. You know, Elden Ring has just flipped a switch in me that I didn't know existed, and that's really freaking cool. And I'm just absolutely loving every second that I've gotten to experience inside Elden Ring. Now, I know that obviously I'm like 3 years late. I think the game came out in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it came out in 2022. So obviously a little, you know, late to the table here, but I think that also goes to prove my point of just how amazing this game is, that even 3 years later, it could be having this effect on somebody, which is just absolutely remarkable to me. So I just wanted to sit down today, try something different. Never made one of these videos on the channel. This is, spoiler alert, actually kind of my bread and butter, doing these sit-down commentaries. I've been doing this for a long time on YouTube, but I haven't done that here on this channel yet. So please, I beg of you, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this chat video. I'm kind of thinking about maybe sprinkling in one of these a month in between our big videos, potentially, so this way there's not as much of a gaping hole between uploads. Let me know your thoughts about that. in the comments down below. I'd really, really appreciate your feedback. Like this video if you enjoyed my little chat about Elden Ring. And hey, subscribe for more content about Elden Ring, because if you didn't know this, I do a playthrough where, as you might expect, I play through the story of Elden Ring, but I do it a little bit differently than what you may expect from other playthroughs. So I definitely recommend checking out the link in the description to going over to that playlist and giving it a look. I'd really, really appreciate it. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tarnished.